strike our enemies where they do not expect.
Hey everyone, it's Dabacabb here, and I am back with another episode of Afterwatch. This time, a fan named Thekrucha, I think it was, has sent in 2 Genji clips for us to analyze, which is awesome because I play a lot of Genji, so I have a lot of knowledge to share. So if anyone else would like me to analyze their gameplay footage, please send me the clips. They need to be at least 1080p, and they should be a full match footage. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. This opening position with Genji, I have never started in this position. I tend to like the rooftops because it gives Genji a little bit more flexibility. As Genji, you generally want to be a little bit cautious about being inside of small rooms because your strength and your survivability relies on not getting hit. So if someone were to like turn that corner and catch Genji inside that room, then he would kind of be in trouble. He dashed there to get onto the wall. That was a waste of a dash. He was right next to it. I don't know why he dashed that close to it. But in general, your dash is... Okay, so here's... This is really dangerous. Fighting Pharah in this closed hallway is a really bad scenario because essentially that Pharah can't miss you. I mean, there's only one vector of attack, which is down the hallway to that you can come up on the Pharah. And so the Pharah knows where you're going to be, which makes it really easy for Pharah to hit you. That's exactly what happened. He got hit by a couple of rockets and he died. So as Genji, you want things to be kind of open. You certainly use cover, but you want to be able to, climb up walls and dash around corners and be unpredictable. But if you're in a tiny room or if you're in a narrow hallway, then the enemy's going to be able to predict exactly where you are, and at that point, you don't really have any defenses. I mean, it would have been a different story if he had attacked the Pharah and the Pharah had immediately started shooting rockets at her, and he deflected them into her and then finished them off with a dash. That did not happen. In that case, it would have been just fine because he could have. That fight right there was a little bit awkward. He kind of went in 1v3. I mean, they weren't looking at him at first, but that was an outnumbered engagement. If he were a little bit better, he could probably have finished off the Zenyatta or the Junkrat and then gotten out of there before the Winston, who is a major threat to Genji, turned around and killed him. But that's fine. We're learning. Things like that happen. All right, so this is a decent position. He's behind the enemy. There's Junkrat in the background launching his tire. Whenever you hear a Junkrat tire go off its Genji, that is a perfect sign that there is a stationary, easy target for you to go kill. Since Genji spends so much time in the back line, basically behind the enemy, you are typically able to get to a Junkrat and kill him or at least put some damage into him before he comes out of his tire mode. So that's something to look out for as Genji. That was another wasted dash. This is kind of a theme. This player definitely needs to... Don't go into this hallway, man. Oh my... See, that's what happens. That soldier knows exactly where you're going to be. You're going to be in that hallway. He doesn't know how far down the hallway you're going to be, but still, all you need to do is just shoot a rocket down there, and he can't miss you, man. So that's lesson number 1 I'm noticing with this Genji player is stay out of enclosed spaces if possible. There are certainly exceptions where you do want to go into an enclosed space, such as to, I don't know, escape certain death or kill a target who's in there. But for the most part, you don't want to be in enclosed spaces. Secondly, you need to use your dash more effectively. Genji's left click and right click are very difficult to land, but his shift is very easy to land, so it's your most reliable source of damage. Does 50 damage, it's good to know that number. So if you use your dash to just travel, it's like that dash was perfectly fine. He's just using it to get closer to the fight, and by the time he gets to the fight, his dash will be back up. So that's fine. That's totally cool. But when you're near the fight, don't dash just to get around. It's a waste. If if like a Mei is coming up to you and she's about to freeze you, in that case, certainly dash to safety. That's okay. So here, I gotta remember myself. When you see a McCree in close range, you need to. This was a bad ult. At best, he's gonna get the one McCree. At best, because there's basically just a McCree there. At worst, he's gonna die and waste his ult, and that's what ended up happening. So when you see a McCree up close, you typically want to just hit that deflect in case he hits you with a flashbang. And in that instance, he deflected the dash into him. But the really awkward thing about Genji is that the deflect timer lasts significantly longer than the stun timer. So what ends up happening a lot of time is the stun on the McCree will wear off at about the same time that your deflect wears off. So if you deflect, this is a bad fight, by the way. He basically can't win this. I mean, Pharah in a big open courtyard versus Genji in a big open courtyard. It is possible for very skilled Genjis to kill a Pharah in this situation, but I mean, I play a boatload of Genji and I have trouble with it. Pharah's hard. When you're up against Pharah, you need to be up close as possible. The farther away you are from the Pharah, the more of an advantage she has. So try to get close, try to dash into her, try and get into right click range. Anyways, back to McCree, as I was saying. If you deflect a flashbang into McCree, you immediately need to dash to cancel the deflect, which allows you to start pumping damage into the McCree. Alright, so the second problem I'm noticing with your Genji play, and this is probably the main problem and the most subtle and hard to fix, is you need to be better about picking your targets. In that way, you need to understand what Genji's role is in the game. Genji does two things. First, he finishes people off. He can put a lot of damage into people very quickly and then get out. So if someone's like running around with 50 health or 100 health, Genji's really good at jumping in there, putting in that last bits of damage, and then getting out safely. So he's like a finisher. The second thing that Genji does is he's an assassin. He finds weak targets or targets that he's good at killing that are normally really hard to get to and no one else on the team can reach, and finishes them off from behind enemy lines. Examples of those people, oh, that was almost a really great kill. Examples are Widowmaker, Mercy, Bastion. Those are his counters. And I'm noticing that this player doesn't do a good job of picking his fights. Like that fight with that McCree in the courtyard, that was a good kill, by the way. That fight with the McCree in the courtyard, that fight with the Pharah in the courtyard are both really unfavorable fights. Those aren't really that's actually not a bad ult. Fighting going for Pharah when she's underneath of that little overhang, because normally a Pharah's reflex is going to be to shift jump to safety, but with that thing above her head, she's going to be all right. You got two teammates here to help you out. 3v1 versus that Hanzo. You should have been more aggressive. You got to read your surroundings, and that was a situation where you had the advantage. He dashed through the tire. That's actually a really great way to survive or kill a tire. It will deal half of the tire's health and damage, and the dash is so quick that most Junkrats don't have the reflexes to kill you when you do it. Anyways, back to my point. You as Genji need to understand who your targets are, where they are, and who you're supposed to be killing and who you're not supposed to be wasting your time on. Pharah, often a waste of your time. That Hanzo, you should be getting up close to. I don't know why you're sniping a Hanzo. Don't counter-save a Hanzo. This Mercy should be your foremost target. You need to be going after healers, backline people who can't easily escape you, like Hanzo and Widowmaker. And the best way to do that is to hit tab. Hey, I'm going to take a quick break between these two matches to show you the Genji Combo. It does above 150 damage if you do not land any headshots, but if you land headshots, it does over 200 damage. I don't know the exact numbers, but this is the combo. You do a right click, you do a melee, and then you do a shift attack. And you do those in quick succession so that they happen basically right after each other. So it's kind of like that, except faster. And if you do it right, then they happen all basically in a split second. Let me see if I can do this right. There you go. 200 damage instantly. Now, it's worth pointing out that that was a headshot. If you do a body shot, these training dummies have 200 health, so that was my combo. I think I did that right. It will not kill a 200 damage or 200 health target like Widowmaker, but if you get the headshot, you can finish them off. So that's a quick Genji tip. If you are playing Genji, it's a great skill to master. I'll be honest. I fucked that up. See, it's hard, man. I'm still learning. I'm not the best Genji in the world. I am very much trying to figure it out. So good luck. All right, skipping ahead to the second match and getting back to the point I was making earlier. As Genji, and as any player really, but especially as Genji, you have to hit tab. You have to know who you're up against, because Genji is an assassin, and assassins need to pick their targets. If you ever turn a corner as Genji and you see a Reaper, immediately deflect, because that's a great way to get surprise damage on Reaper. And this is exactly what he should be doing. He should be going after the high priority weak targets in the back line like this Widowmaker. So that was a good play. That's what he's supposed to be doing. And the way that you do that is you figure out who on the enemy team is weak, and you do that by pressing tab. So my rule of thumb is whenever I die, whenever there's a lull in the action, especially after you like watch your kill cam and you are running back to the fight after you die, hit tab. See what's going on. As Genji, you're looking for healers like Mercy or Lucio. You're looking for Widowmaker. You're looking for Bastion. Other vulnerable targets that are, that you can do that to. So another thing to look out for is on fire. If you see a Widowmaker on fire, that means you are absolutely not doing your job as Genji. So what you want to, like right now he knows where that Mercy is, because he can see that blue healing beam, and that Mercy is in that little building. But instead, this player is choosing to snipe the Zarya, which isn't going to do shit. I mean, he gets the Mercy here with the ult. But the Mercy's not exactly near the Zarya, and we know the Zarya is... here what he should have done is, when you sheath your sword, you're very vulnerable. You can't deflect or attack while you're sheathing your sword, but you can dash. So in that instance, he should have just backed out or dashed away to safety. It's perfectly reasonable to dash out of danger. I do it all the time. So keep that in mind. Genji is a force to be reckoned with when he has his sword out, but when the duration ends, he is a sitting duck. I don't know what's wrong with this McCree. Going in after this McCree is a little bit risky. He was so low health, and you know there's a health pack there, that once he got the health pack, you probably shouldn't have pursued. It would have been dangerous, but that McCree wasn't very good, so it was a pretty easy kill to confirm. So anyways, going back to that point I was making earlier, he knew where that Mercy was. She's, as far as he can tell, alone in that room, so he should have come in from the side and tried to kill that Mercy while she was just a sitting duck. So you, the player, need to be a little bit better about understanding where you should be. Figure out who your targets are, number one. Oh, but those are great shurikens. You get all three into the tracer. A dash would have killed her. You should be a little bit more aggressive on that. Like a spread shuriken and melee would have killed her too. It's unfortunate you couldn't get that kill. Number one, know who your targets are. Number two, find your targets. That's kind of what you're constantly doing as Genji. You look for the Mercy, think, okay, they got a Mercy, they got a Widowmaker. Where are they? How can I sneak up on them? And if you see, a little bit of damage you can put into people along the way, cool, do it. If you see a kill you can confirm on the way, cool, do that too. I mean, obviously, Genji is an opportunist, so you need to jump on those opportunities when they present themselves. But for the most part, your job is to focus on killing those people. All right, round 2 of the second match. In general, I'm not a super huge fan of Genji in these King of the Hill maps. He tends to excel more in one-on-one scenarios, and these King of the Hill point maps tend to be like just giant 6v6 brawls in the middle of the area. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Genji can be successful here. You can play Genji well. It's just, it's a little bit harder for him to shine because it's a little bit more AoE and team fight oriented, and that's not necessarily Genji's greatest strong suit. So going in behind the Roadhog's right there, Roadhog's a really great character to build charge off of because he's so slow and so huge, it's just impossible to miss him. So I've spent a lot of time sniping Roadhog from afar. You're not going to kill him, but with his 60 health and Genji's unimpressive shuriken damage. But you're going to build up your charge for your sword, and your sword is going to kill people. That Tracer. Man, don't snipe a Genji. Or don't snipe a Hanzo. If you're fighting against a Hanzo, try and get as close as possible and try and disorient them by jumping around. Don't stay on the ground. If you ever played Hanzo, you know that people who are moving on horizontally and vertically are very hard to hit. So double jump over his head, try and confuse him, disorient him. Don't just run, sidestep him, and stay on his ground level. You're just making yourself an easier target. In general, you want to jump a lot as Genji. It makes him harder to predict, and you want to try and get on the high ground as much as possible. It's not quite as important here in this King of the Hill map, but it's not a good dash. You need to work on your dashes a little bit. You're using them as like travel, which is fine a lot of the times, especially when you use your sword to get into position. What I probably would have done is I like to know where my target is before I sword, or at least know that like right around the corner there are people fighting. That felt a little bit blind to me. I'm not sure how you would have known where those bad guys were and who they were. So it probably would have been better to... That was not good. Don't stay that still against a Widowmaker. A good Widowmaker, well, a decent Widowmaker will kill you. A good Widowmaker will just wait till you are no longer deflecting and then just put a bullet in your head. Like, you gotta keep in mind that really good Widowmakers who play a lot of Widowmakers get so used to Genjis trying to reflect their bullets that it just becomes a thing that you're aware that they do, and they just wait for the deflect to go down. They got the timing perfectly, and they just kill you. So I'm guessing that this is at a skill level where that doesn't happen very much. So typically the best use of deflect at slightly higher skills is to close the gap. You're probably not going to kill anyone with it. You're just buying yourself some time where Widowmaker can't shoot you. And then right when your deflect is about to wear off, you dash into them to close the last remaining amount of distance. And then you're in a close melee-esque range where you should have the advantage because you can right-click and melee, and hopefully you got the dash into her. So overall, this fight's going decently. Gotta be a little bit careful that Winston is one of the best counters to Genji. Just trying to get too close to them. Got hit with the bomb, unfortunately. So this match is winding down. Your team's winning. Let me just recap the points briefly. Number one, you need to understand Genji's role a little bit better. Understand that he's an assassin, and assassins need to pick their targets. And to pick your targets, you need to hit tab. So you need to work on your team understanding a little bit more. You need to be more vertically focused. You're not jumping enough. You're not taking the high ground enough. You just need to put yourself in positions where the enemy won't see you coming and will be surprised, where you can get more information from a higher vantage point. You need to use your dashes a little bit more intelligently. It's by far your most reliable source of damage outside of your sword. So you just need to... You should have remembered that trap was there. So that Junkrat's obviously going to be hanging out near that trap, so that was kind of an easy kill for him, you jumping into that. So yeah, think vertically, find your targets, use your dashes more to get kills and to put damage into people, and less to travel. You need to, let me see, that's your ally. Yeah, just those are your general high-level tips. There's a lot of like small technical Genji-specific skills, but that's your like meta strategy, your high-level, how to become a better Genji player overall. So anyways, if anyone else wants to submit a Afterwatch clip, please just email them to my account at dabacabb@gmail.com, and I will do some gameplay analysis. Hopefully we can learn something together. If I'm better than you, that's awesome. You have a lot to learn. If you're better than me, that's also awesome. It means I can learn. So hopefully we can, help each other become better players overall.